Whether it's creatures with strange bodies or ones with bizarre features, there's one thing they all have in common. They look completely out of this world.
Beautiful island.
It's gorgeous.
So were they created in secret labs, or are they simply rare miracles of nature? Hang on, because you're about to find out.
So this is a material that we call biorubber.
Biorubber, and you use the prefix bio because whatever is the material it will take to flesh or living cells.
That's right.
A video began to spread online, showing a mouse with what appeared to be human ears on its back. Although the sight was unusual, it wasn't by chance. It came from a controlled lab project focused on tissue engineering to explore new ways to support people in need of ear reconstruction. While the image looked surprising, it actually showed a big step in medical progress. This experiment quietly reminded people that science still has many new directions to explore, some of them more unexpected than anyone imagined.
This is really creepy. I mean, mice are creepy enough, and this one has no hair and a human ear growing on its back.
Glow-in-the-dark cats.
Clone cat that has been genetically engineered to light up when the lights go down.
A group of experts worked on cats that could glow under certain lights and created one that was truly 1 in a million. They used jellyfish genes, mixing them gently with normal cat cells. After some time, kittens were born with fur that lit up under blue light. These cats looked normal during the day, but in dark rooms with special light, they gave off a soft green shine. The goal behind this strange experiment was not just for looks. Scientists were studying how to fight rare illnesses by watching how the glowing genes moved in the body. Even though the glowing effect was mild, it showed a new way to track changes inside animals.
You're seeing are his skin cells, his ears, his eyes, his nose. If we were to shave him, he would glow totally green.
Hybrid chimeras.
Was at about 4 weeks old and injected with the human iPS cells.
In a groundbreaking experiment, scientists have created what's known as a human-pig chimera, a creature that blends both human and pig cells. The purpose behind this creation is not as strange as it sounds. Researchers aim to grow human tissues in pigs to one day help those in need of organ transplants. By inserting human stem cells into pig embryos, scientists can study how these cells grow and develop. Though these chimeras look mostly like pigs, they carry human cells in some of their organs. This project is seen as a potential solution to the shortage of human organs available for transplant. However, the idea raises many ethical questions as people wonder about the impact of mixing human and animal cells. Still, the research continues with the hope that it could save lives in the future.
We see the human cells become the precursor of the cardiomyocyte, the heart, and also the liver, the pancreas, and the gut. So the potential is there.
Mini brains.
Scientists are now hoping to unravel some perplexing medical mysteries in a very unusual way. They're growing cerebral organoids, or mini brains, inside a lab.
It may sound like science fiction, but scientists have actually grown tiny brain-like structures in the lab. These small creations, called mini brains or organoids, are built from human stem cells. They don't think or feel. They're simply used to study how real brains grow and function. About the size of a pea, these mini brains help researchers learn more about brain conditions, test treatments, and explore how brain cells form. Each one is carefully grown in a lab dish, slowly developing layers similar to those in human brains. While they're far from being actual minds, their structure gives valuable insight into brain development. This tiny invention shows how science can study something as complex as the brain using just a few cells, and without ever needing a full one.
It's a little mini brain, a little organoid.
Is this how we start?
Yeah, so the size is kind of similar to the developing brain at a very, very early stage, around 9 weeks of pregnancy.
Humanized mice. In medical research, mice have helped solve many health mysteries. But to study certain human conditions more closely, scientists created what are known as humanized mice. These mice are not part human in appearance. Instead, they have small amounts of human cells, genes, or tissues added to their bodies in a lab. This allows researchers to see how the human immune system reacts to diseases or medicines without testing on people. These special mice are cared for under strict guidelines to keep them safe and healthy. They play a key role in developing treatments for conditions that are hard to study in humans directly. Though the name may sound strange, humanized mice quietly support medical progress in ways that bring new hope to future healthcare solutions. Singing mice.
So we call these sexy songs, and that the meaning in here in the case is like a male showing that he can produce the complex sounds that makes him attractive.
Most mice make high-pitched sounds we can't hear, but scientists wanted to change that. In a unique experiment, they used neural modification to help mice produce sounds more like songs. By adjusting certain brain signals, the mice began to create more rhythmic vocal patterns. The goal wasn't to make them sing like birds, but to study how the brain controls sound and speech. These experiments could one day help scientists understand how speech develops in humans. The mice were treated gently and monitored closely, with care taken to protect them throughout the study. Even though the idea of mice learning to sing might sound strange, it helped researchers better explore how the brain shapes voice and communication in ways we're still beginning to understand.
Well, it turns out mice vocalization is a model for studying autism. In humans, autism limits speech, becomes very limited, very monotone, and the same thing happens with autistic mice.
Tiny creature. While walking along a quiet path, a man suddenly stopped when he noticed something small lying near his feet. At first, it looked like a bundle of fur, but as he leaned down, he realized it was a baby monkey. It didn't move much, and its size made it look even more helpless. The man carefully picked it up, unsure of where it came from. Looking around, he spotted a nearby tree with low branches. Without hesitation, he gently placed the tiny monkey on one of the branches. The little creature held on, and the man stepped back slowly. There was no noise, no crowd, just a quiet moment where one small act helped return something back where it belonged. Spider goats.
And so these kids have the genes for a spider in them.
Yes.
It's insane. And where does the spider silk actually come from?
These goats are born with spider genes. Yeah, looking like any farm animal, but their milk held a surprise. Inside the milk were tiny threads made from spider silk. The idea was not to scare people, but to create a strong material without needing actual spiders. Spider silk is lighter than cotton, but tougher than steel, and very hard to collect from spiders directly. By using goats, experts found a way to make it in larger amounts. The silk from their milk was pulled out and used to test strong ropes and soft armor. These goats lived normal lives, but the science behind them quietly opened a new door to creating powerful, soft materials in a peaceful way.
This is bizarre.
I guess I would not say it's bizarre. I think that it's certainly different, but they're absolutely normal. I don't think there's anything different about them.
Enviropigs.
This is the Enviropig, and you look at it, looks just like a pig. It looks, sounds, acts identical to a normal Yorkshire pig.
Meet the Enviropig, a pig specially created to help the planet. Unlike regular pigs, these ones were bred to release less phosphorus in their waste. Why does that matter? Too much phosphorus from farms can pollute lakes and rivers, harming fish and water quality. So, researchers added a helpful gene from bacteria to help these pigs digest their food in a cleaner way. On the outside, Enviropigs looked completely normal, but inside, they were built for a greener future. Though the project ended after a few years, it opened the door to new ideas in eco-friendly farming. These pigs quietly proved that even small changes can make a big difference to the world around us.
Something different. And that worries. Someone like this could end up on a dinner plate. Certainly one of the goals of the technology is to produce a pig which could be consumed by humans and enter the food chain.
Giant cows.
He's a big fellow. Am I all right?
He's quite big, huh? He's 160 meter tall, yeah.
In the world of livestock, few animals stand out as much as the Belgian blue cow. Known for their impressive size and muscular build, these cows are a product of selective breeding. Their size isn't just for show. They were bred to have more muscle mass, making them incredibly strong. These cows are naturally more powerful than other breeds, with some reaching up to 1,800 pounds. Their unique appearance is due to a genetic mutation that makes them almost look too muscular to be true. While their size and strength are impressive, they also require special care due to their physical build. Belgian blues have changed the way we look at livestock, pushing the limits of breeding to create animals that meet specific farming needs.
When you say double muscled, do you mean it has 2 of every muscle?
No.
Because it looks like it does.
Absolutely.
Almost,
it has exactly the same type of muscle than any other breed, except that in terms of quantity, each of these muscles is by far more developed.
Mutated spider. They said it was just another spider until they saw it crawl out from the shadows. The person who recorded this couldn't believe what they were seeing. The creature had the shape of a spider, but its body was completely black. Its legs were long and uneven, dragging across the ground like they were too heavy to lift. The head wasn't even clear. The person who found it believed it wasn't born this way. It might have been a normal spider once, but something toxic must have changed it. The video ends quickly, but the sight of that thing stays with the person forever. Proof that even the smallest creatures can turn into something haunting. Dragon chickens. With legs that look almost too big for their bodies, dragon chickens, also called dong tao chickens, are one of the most unusual birds on the planet. Found in Vietnam, these chickens are famous for their thick, scaly legs that resemble something from a fantasy story. Once raised only for royal families, they are now considered rare and valuable. Their large legs are not just for looks, they're also considered a special delicacy in their home country. Growing and caring for these birds takes extra attention, as their size makes them more sensitive to weather and movement. Despite their strange appearance, people prize them for both their look and taste. Dragon chickens prove that nature, combined with selective breeding, can create creatures that are truly one of a kind. Dark mystery. A strange, dark creature was spotted inside a concrete drain of an abandoned building. It moved slowly in a weird way, making everyone confused about what it really was. The creature's shape was hard to make out and seemed to blend into the darkness of the pipe. As it crawled, its body moved in a strange, unnatural way. People who saw it were left wondering if it was a creature that had been changed somehow or something else entirely. No one knew for sure, but it was clear that whatever it was, it didn't seem like it belonged there in the abandoned building. Creepy window mystery. No one would want to open their room windows if they saw something like this stuck in the corners. At first, it looked like a mess of dried up paint, but as the man stared, he noticed something disturbing. The paint wasn't paint at all, it was a creature. Slimy and twisted, it seemed to be slowly trying to move, its surface rippling like wet clay. The creature's form was strange, almost liquid, with small squirming tendrils poking out from its body. The man couldn't believe what he was seeing, but there it was, stuck to the corner of the window, moving in a way that made it clear this was no ordinary creature. It was something far more sinister. Strange owl. During an exploration trip to the zoo, a man noticed something strange inside a cage. At first glance, it seemed like an ordinary owl, but as he looked closer, he realized it was anything but normal. The owl had an unusual face, one that sent a chill down his spine. Its beak was huge and unnaturally wide, far larger than any owl he had ever seen. The sharp, oversized beak seemed to stretch across its face, making it look almost alien. Its eyes were wide and piercing, filled with an unsettling intensity. The man couldn't help but feel that this creature didn't belong in the zoo, and perhaps not even in this world. The eerie feeling lingered as he moved away, unsure of what he had just witnessed. Area 51 creature. While driving through the quiet area near Area 51, a man suddenly had to slam on his car brakes. Right in front of him, standing on the road, was a huge creature. It looked like a dinosaur, with rough, scaly skin and a large, powerful body. It wasn't like anything the man had ever seen before. It seemed out of place, as if it didn't belong in the world today. The man quickly realized this might be the result of some secret scientific experiment. The creature, after a tense moment, slowly turned and disappeared into the shadows, leaving the man with a sense of fear and wonder, unsure of what he had just witnessed. Strange creatures. A man was walking near the jungle on a quiet night when something unexpected caught his eye. In the dim light, two strange creatures emerged from the shadows. Their pale skin seemed almost ghostly in the darkness, and their long ears made them look otherworldly. They resembled humans, yet something about them felt off, like they were from another realm entirely. The man stood still, unsure if his eyes were playing tricks on him. Then, he remembered the research lab located not far from there. Could these creatures be the result of some strange experiment? Before he could react, they disappeared silently into the dark woods, leaving him with a chilling sense of mystery. They were never seen again. Mutated chicken. A lady heard some odd rustling sounds coming from her yard late in the afternoon. Thinking it was just another bird, she stepped outside to check, but what she saw made her freeze. There, beneath one of the trees, stood a chicken, or at least something that looked like one. Its body and feathers were just like any regular chicken, but its legs were completely different. Instead of thin bird legs, it had thick, hard crab legs that clicked against the ground with every step. The creature was busy trying to reach the fruits hanging low from the tree. It looked like a strange mix between a chicken and a crab, as if it had come straight out fiction world. Clumpy creature. A man was taking a calm walk when something unusual appeared on the road. It wasn't moving fast, but its odd shape made him stop. It looked like a pale, clumpy creature lying still, with parts of it slowly shifting. Curious, the man picked up a stick and carefully poked it. That's when the whole thing started to move in little wriggles. To his surprise, it wasn't a creature at all. It was a cluster of worms stuck tightly together, forming a strange, moving mass. Their light color and slimy bodies gave the illusion of one single being from a distance. The man watched for a while, unsure how so many had gathered like that. It was a strange sight, something simple, yet oddly unforgettable once you saw it up close. Bioengineered jellyfish rabbits. In a lab filled with glowing surprises, scientists once created rabbits that could shine in the dark. These glowing rabbits weren't magic. They were made using genes from jellyfish. The jellyfish gene, known for making the sea creature glow, was added to rabbit embryos. When the baby rabbits were born, they looked normal during the day, but under special light, they gave off a green glow. This wasn't done just for fun. The glowing gene helped researchers track how genes work inside a living body. It made studying diseases and gene behavior much easier. Though the idea of a glowing rabbit may sound unusual, it showed how genes from different species can be used to open new doors in science without changing how the animal lives or behaves. Human cells in monkey.
US and Chinese scientists have implanted human cells into monkey embryos. The aim of the research is to understand more about how cells develop and to help research in cultivating organs for transplant.
Scientists took a huge step into unknown territory by placing human cells inside monkey embryos. The goal wasn't to create something unnatural, it was to understand how different cells grow and work together. These early-stage embryos were kept alive for only a short time, just long enough for researchers to study how the human cells behaved. Some grew and blended with monkey cells better than expected. This unusual experiment opened new doors in medical research, possibly helping in the future with organ growth or disease study. But it also raised big questions. How far can science go when mixing the lines between species? Though no creature was ever born, this mix of human and monkey cells was a quiet signal that boundaries in biology are shifting.
So I think When we create an organism that is a mix between a human and a monkey, we're really not sure at all what sort of organism we have created. I mean, is it a human? Is it a monkey? Is it something in between? And that raises ethical issues because we don't know how we should treat these creatures.
Super salmon.
The risk is as minimum as you could ever expect to get with any product.
Just when people thought they'd seen it all in food science, a new kind of fish made waves. A fast-growing salmon made by Aqua Bounty Technologies became the first lab-made animal approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration for store shelves. Called Aqua Advantage salmon, it grows almost twice as fast as regular salmon due to a special gene that boosts natural growth. The idea was to raise healthy fish more quickly without changing how they look or taste. Some viewed it as a smart step forward, while others remained unsure. But one thing was certain, this fish had already changed the story of science and food.
When genetically modified fish are deemed safe by all of the regulatory bodies, and as well until the market demands it, and that's really a key factor, we're not going to be pursuing it.
Transparent frogs. In the rainforests of Central and South America, the glass frogs are famous for their translucent skin, which helps them blend into their leafy surroundings. This natural camouflage, known as edge diffusion, breaks up the frog's outline, making it nearly invisible to predators. Their skin adapts to match the brightness of their perch, making them an expert in hiding in plain sight. But what if scientists could enhance this feature through genetic modification? Imagine frogs with even more advanced transparency, allowing them to become invisible in a wider range of environments. Genetic experiments could take this unique camouflage even further. While nature has already perfected this trick, scientists might soon push these abilities to new limits, offering a glimpse into the future of genetic enhancements. Six-legged frogs. A man exploring near a quiet research building had no idea his walk would lead to something so odd. Right outside the lab, he spotted a frog, but this one had 6 legs. It didn't jump away like a normal frog. It just sat there, calm and still, as if it belonged there. The man recorded the strange creature, and soon the video spread online. Many people began to wonder, was this frog the result of a lab experiment? Scientists have worked on frogs in the past, studying their cells and how they grow. But no one expected to see something like this sitting in plain sight. Whether it escaped or was placed there, the six-legged frog raised more questions than answers. Electrically controlled beetles. These living beetle machines are what is a true marvel of science. Then tiny devices were placed on the insects' backs, connecting wires to their muscles. These parts didn't harm the beetles, but allowed researchers to control their movements with electrical signals. A small switch could make them turn, fly, or even stop mid-air. This experiment helped scientists explore how muscles and nerves react to signals. In the future, such insects could be used to search through tight spaces during rescue missions or collect data from dangerous areas. These remote-controlled insects were part bug, part robot, and fully real. It showed how far science could go in blending nature with technology, all in the size of your hand. Super roaches. During a visit to a science facility, a man noticed something unusual in one of the corners. Crawling slowly across the floor was the biggest cockroach he had ever seen. It looked too large to be normal, and its shiny shell gave off an odd glow under the lab lights. He recorded a quick video and posted it online. People were quick to comment, calling it a genetically modified roach possibly used in lab experiments. Some research centers test roaches to understand how they survive harsh conditions like radiation or toxic air. Over time, certain ones may grow stronger or react in strange ways. No one confirmed its origin, but many viewers were convinced this roach wasn't just large. It looked like something built to survive anything.
These are the roaches we have in the Amazon.
Double-muscled rabbits.
Man, it's the attack bunny! Flemish giant!
During a quiet visit to an animal research center, a man was handed something he didn't expect. A rabbit so large and heavy, it barely fit in his arms. Its thick legs and powerful back didn't look normal at all. The bunny had muscles that seemed too strong for its size. It turned out that scientists had been working on a study to understand muscle development. By adjusting a certain gene, they were able to increase muscle mass in these rabbits. The goal was to explore ways to treat muscle loss in humans, but the result was an animal that looked almost unreal. Standing still, the rabbit looked calm, but one glance at its frame was enough to leave anyone wondering how far science can go.
My snake just took off when it saw this.
Giant moths.
Beautiful, aren't they?
It's gorgeous.
A worker at his office near a research facility had an unexpected visitor. It was a moth unlike any he had seen before. Its wings were wide, its body was large, and its eyes reflected a strange glow. The man believed it had escaped from one of the nearby labs and described it as a failed experiment. Some say scientists were trying to understand insect growth by testing changes in hormones. If those levels go too high, the results can be extreme. This moth looked like something that had outgrown its limits. It didn't seem, but its appearance was strange enough to make people pause. It stood as a quiet reminder. Science sometimes creates more than expected.
What are these called?
Mammoth moth.
Genetically altered ticks.
A Republican congressman from New Jersey wants the Pentagon to reveal whether it experimented on ticks with the goal of turning them into weapons and whether this led to the spread of Lyme disease in the U.S.
In 2019, the U.S. House of Representatives passed an amendment that called for an investigation into the Department of Defense's involvement with genetically altered ticks. The amendment came after claims that between the 1950s and 1970s, the military may have experimented with ticks as part of biological warfare research. These ticks were reportedly exposed to diseases, including Lyme disease, to see how they could spread pathogens. Though no conclusive evidence supports the idea that Lyme disease was intentionally released, the investigation has brought attention to the possibility of genetic manipulation in past experiments. While these ticks were designed for research, the fear now is whether such creations could unintentionally affect ecosystems or public health in the future.
Bioweapon specialists stuffed ticks with pathogens to cause severe disability, disease, even death to potential enemies.
Drug-sniffing bees. Bees are not just busy making honey, they're also being trained to help with serious work. In scientific labs, researchers discovered that bees can be taught to recognize the smell of certain illegal drugs. These bees are placed in small containers where their reaction to certain scents is carefully observed. If they detect the target smell, they stick out their tongues, which is a natural response. This simple movement tells researchers that the scent is present. Unlike large machines or trained animals, bees are small, quick, and very sensitive to chemical changes in the air. It's a gentle, clever way to use nature's built-in abilities to support important detection work. Genetically modified mosquitoes.
The goal of this procedure here at Oxitec is to use our mosquito, OX513A, to reduce the population numbers of the Aedes aegypti mosquito in the wild.
Imagine a world where mosquitoes no longer spread dangerous diseases like malaria or Zika. That's the goal behind genetically modified mosquitoes. Scientists have altered these mosquitoes to carry special genes that prevent them from spreading certain viruses or even limit their ability to reach maturity. The idea is to lower the number of mosquitoes in areas where diseases are common. While early tests have shown success, the project is still debated. Some people worry about how these modified mosquitoes might affect the environment if they spread too far. Despite these concerns, researchers continue to explore the potential of these GM mosquitoes as a solution to fighting diseases that impact millions. Their future could transform the way we tackle health problems caused by these tiny insects.
So this is our female room. You can walk in. In these big cages, what we have is our egg-producing colony. In total, about 12,000 females per cage. And they are here to produce the egg.
remote-controlled cyborg insects.
You stimulate all the muscles individually. So the beetle actually has no control over what it's doing. Then. So you basically make it into a robot, actually.
Like a robot.
In Singapore, researchers have taken a bold step in combining biology with technology by creating remote-controlled cyborg insects. By attaching small electronic devices to live insects like Madagascar hissing cockroaches, scientists can control their movements with precision. This fusion of nature and robotics opens up new possibilities, particularly for search and rescue missions. These cyborg insects can navigate through tight spaces and rubble, making them ideal for locating survivors or delivering supplies in disaster areas where traditional robots might struggle. While the idea of controlling living creatures with technology may sound futuristic, it's quickly becoming a reality. This technology could revolutionize emergency response efforts, proving that even the tiniest creatures can be transformed into valuable tools when combined with modern science.
Then we use this smooth paper, and we release the beetle, and the flying beetle even crash on the walls. Still, the beetle go back to the arena to fly.
Zombie ants. In an eerie twist of nature, a parasitic fungus has been found to control the actions of ants in a bizarre way. This fungus invades an ant's body and alters its behavior. Once infected, the ant leaves its colony, climbs vegetation, and clamps its jaws onto a leaf or branch. The fungus then takes control, eventually growing through the ant's body and releasing spores to infect more ants. This mind-altering behavior ensures the fungus's survival and spread. While the idea of manipulating creatures sounds like something from science fiction, this natural phenomenon reminds us how certain organisms have evolved to use other creatures for their own benefit. Scientists continue to study this peculiar relationship, discovering new ways that nature manipulates behavior for survival. Furry mystery. A man spotted something ahead that made him ease off the gas. Standing motionless in the middle of the road was a figure he couldn't quite place. Without thinking twice, he reached for his phone and hit record. The creature didn't flinch. It watched him closely, its gaze steady and unreadable. Thick fur covered its body, dark and coarse, but the face didn't seem to match. There was something strange about it, like the head belonged to something else entirely. It wasn't threatening, just unfamiliar in a way that unsettled him. After a long pause, the creature turned and slipped into the woods without a sound. The man stayed put, still holding the phone. That brief encounter left a strange feeling behind, and a clip he'd replay more times than he could count. Synthetic bacteria beasts.
And so we used a computer algorithm to simplify this natural genome sequence and rewrite the sequence into an artificial sequence of DNA letters that is easy to manufacture.
A living cell once needed millions of years to form naturally, but now scientists have made one using a keyboard. With help from powerful computers, a research team designed synthetic bacteria by selecting only the genes they needed. The digital blueprint was turned into real DNA and placed inside a cell, which started working just like life from nature. These lab-grown microbes can be programmed to carry out tasks like absorbing carbon, making clean fuel, or even creating medicine. What makes them unusual is how simple they are, stripped down to just the parts that matter. This wasn't an accident or mutation. It was a living thing, made with intention. It marked a moment where science didn't just study life, it started to build its own version.
There are many applications. For instance, you could think about producing a genome to make a synthetic cell that will produce vitamins.
Miami experiment. A video from TikTok has been making rounds on the internet, leaving everyone wondering what's going on in Miami. The clip, shot from a car on the road, shows a scene that no one could have expected. Policemen were seen guarding a giant alien-like creature. The creature's form was unlike anything known to science. Its shape was otherworldly, with large eyes. Just as quickly as it appeared, the video was taken down, sparking even more curiosity. Viewers were left convinced that the government was hiding something. Many believe the creature might be something created in secret labs, part of a hidden experiment that's now out in the open, though no one knows for sure. And now, let's move on to the subscribers' pick.
The inspiration for episode 5 came from Spielberg and those classic movies like Poltergeist, where it's a suburban neighborhood that gets taken over by some kind of force or monster.
A strange video began to spread online, showing something unusual inside what looked like a secret lab. The clip was shared by an unknown user who claimed it showed a hidden creature being studied by scientists. The creature had a strange body and didn't look like anything found in nature. Many people believed it was real and part of an experiment that wasn't meant to be seen. But as the video gained attention, others pointed out something surprising. It wasn't a real creature at all. It turned out to be a behind-the-scenes moment from a movie set. What looked like science was actually special effects. Still, the way it attracted people showed how real some creations can appear on screen. And with that, see you next time.
At that point, people on Dust were sort of prone to expect an actor to walk out of his trailer in makeup. But when this creature showed up on set and the puppeteer started to work it, I think everyone was pretty amazed and pretty taken aback in the best possible way.